Welcome back to the Fifth Down. We are officially in 2 weeks into the high school football season, but before we get to that, Tyler Krusz has our top play from week 1.
Hey Austin, yeah, we did not forget about your top play of week 1 of high school football. Over 450 of you voted for your pick for top play of the week, and 169 of you voted for this. Our top play of week 1 takes us to Hillman for Jeff Klein's diving touchdown in the second quarter. The game was scoreless at the time, but Klein had something to say about that. He takes his pass from quarterback A.J. Jones, and he goes airborne for 6. Now, I would be talking that talk too if I did that. Hillman wins this week's top play. Now, here's some highlights from week 2. Austin, no pun intended, want to kick things off?
I will, yes. Starting off on Thursday, we had the Alpena Wildcats taking on Sheboygan in their first home game of the season. This was also the first time that the Wildcats would be having fans in attendance since 2019. Going into the first quarter, we kick things off, and Alpena's first drive will start with this very nice curl route here to Luke Young, who quickly loses his defender and takes it deep into Sheboygan territory until he is shoved out of bounds. You can see the sideline getting crazy hype after that play. That play would then set up this short run into the end zone by Caden Butnick, getting the Wildcats on the board first, 6-0. Alpena would continue this momentum into the second quarter, and look who it is again. Caden Butnick takes it to the outside with the toss and brings in another touchdown for the Wildcats. Sheboygan, however, would not enter halftime scoreless. We had this goal line run from Bayou Janoop, who would actually fake out our cameraman. This was such a good play. The score at halftime would be 12-8 Alpena. However, the second half is where Sheboygan would pull away. This great pass from Henry Stemke to Beal Janoop would lead to this next play where Dylan Balazovic would take the handoff and help Sheboygan take the lead 14-12. And offensively, Alpena struggled in the third quarter with no points until the fourth. And after this sack from Jacob Hillman was absolute proof of that defensive effort from Sheboygan. David Hetner would fight through the D-line to pick up this next touchdown for Sheboygan, and Alpena would try to mount a comeback as Butnick scores again in the fourth, but by this point it was too late. Sheboygan picks up the win at Wildcat Stadium 28-18. They're in Petoskey next week to start Big North Conference play.
And the Hillman Tigers were back in action Thursday. They were going against the Mayo Au Thunderbolts. Mayo was winning big last week against Heston Academy, and Hillman lost to Alcona. They are trying to change that this week. All right, here we go. Tigers were hosting the Mayo Bolts, playing on Thursday, getting a jump start at that holiday weekend. Cheerleaders were getting their reps in. The band was looking very good, and it was football weather too. So here we go. First half for Mayo was all about the junior Nathan Hurst. Here he is taking the handoff deep into Hillman territory, and Mayo looking to add to what was already a 6-0 lead early. A few plays later, here is quarterback Austin Fox, and he is going to look for Hurst near the goal line, and what a grab here, what a throw. He has got it, and that is going to set up this very next play. Hurst was just on fire. Here he is again with the nice grab, and this would actually result in a touchdown. He is in for the score, and Mayo goes up 12-0. We are still in the first here. Fox was looking downfield for Seth Spahn next, and Seth Spahn is going to make this one-handed grab for the first down. What a snag by the junior. Mayo was up 12-0 at the half. Same score over to the fourth quarter now, and here come the Tigers. They will stuff the run right here to turn the Bolts over on downs, and it's Hillman ball, and they would get going offensively. Here is Sean Hennigan. He's got a tough first down run right here on the halfback sweep. And then later in the drive, quarterback A.J. Jones is actually going, he's going to find Jack Klein for another Tiger first down right here. Great throw, great catch by Klein, leaping up into the air. And here is Jones looking for it all. He's going to go down the field looking for Hennigan, and this ball would actually be picked off. Just way too many Thunderbolts in the area on that one, and Mayo would go on to win and improve to 2-0 on the season before Labor Day weekend. Final score is Thunderbolts 12 and Tigers nothing.
Those are some great plays from Mayo there, and these weren't the only two teams that we have some updates for you guys. There were other few teams in our area that were in action on Thursday because of the long weekend. Starting with Alcona, they would fall to Merrill by 1 touchdown. Their 2 scores were both thrown by quarterback Garrett Summers, 1 to Michael Basner and 1 to Gavin Walker. All Gray Sims stays hot with another 50-point game. This time, Whittemore Prescott were the victims as All Gray Sims won 50-12 to improve to 2-0 on the season.
All right, welcome back to the Fifth Down. It's a holiday weekend, so not too many of our area teams are in play tonight, but expect a full slate next Friday. We are going to start this week's coverage up north in Rogers City. The Hurons are coming off a win in their first ever 8-man football game after beating Brethren last week. Tonight, they hosted Brimley for some Week 2 action at Gilpin Memorial, and well, let's roll the tape. First home game of the season for the Hurons. Fans are out, crowd was getting into it, and more perfect football weather. Hurons getting pumped up before this one, looking for win number 2 as an 8-man team, and they would waste zero time doing it. First quarter, Hurons' first drive, here's quarterback Spencer Whitford taking it down the sideline into your living room, deep into Brimley territory. Hurons in good field position for this play right here. Whitford using his arm now. He's looking down the field for Hayden Henkowski, and the junior is going to make this catch for a quick 6, and Rogers City is up early. Next drive now for Brimley. Rogers City forces 4th down, but that's not all. They would get into the backfield and bring down Grady Newland, and the Hurons have the ball back again in great field position. And here they come. On their second drive of the game, Whitford is going to find Henkowski again for their second touchdown of the game, and then nice 2-point conversion run from the quarterback right here. He's going to fight through 2 defenders and dive in for the score, and that is going to make it a 14-0 game. All right, moving ahead now to the second quarter. It's the same score, and well, here comes the run. Get it? The Beatles say here comes the sun, but here comes the run. Dylan Carr rolls his way in for 6, and he is going to extend the Hurons' lead, and they would not stop there. We go to the fourth quarter now, and they are still running it up. This touchdown run from Henkowski is going to make it a 36-0 game. Safe to say these guys adjusted well to the new field in 8-man football. Hurons take the win over Brimley. Final score in this one is 42-0. After the game, here's head coach Jesse Fenstermaker on what he saw from the guys.
I think we're adjusting really well. The boys are, I mean, they're picking it up quick. So they were pumped up and ready to go. The offensive line blocked really well for them, and we just hit our spots, and they got down the field quick. So
Hurons are home again next week, and they take on Red Hot Onaway, and we will have those highlights right here on WBKB News.
Tyler, we're moving down a little bit to the Posen Vikings. They're hosting last year's North Star League champions in the Atlanta Huskies. Both teams came up short last week, so they're both out for that first win of the season tonight. This game would be an absolute battle between 2 strong defensive forces. As you can see, the Posen Vikings warming up right here. First, we have a strong punt from Trace Jurgens, who jukes a defender coming up the field and fights back up the middle for some extra yards. Some great moves on this return. And Posen would have the ball, and the QB was just not prepared for the amount of defenders that was rushing him here. They charge him, he makes a risky throw, and it gets picked off by T.J. Curry, who picks it up and gets tackled out of bounds. However, Posen defense would get some revenge later on and respond, anything you can do, I can do better. QB pressure, and Jack Rommel will get the interception for the Vikings. Right back at you, says Posen. Moving on to the second half, and the defensive battle would continue with this here fumble recovery, actually, for the Huskies. It's a little muff snap, and they are able to jump on the ball and pick up the fumble, and that fumble would lead to this great play by T.J. Curry, who's going to take the ball himself. He's going to run to the outside, and he's going to try to make the touchdown. He'll dive for the pylon, but he's ruled out of bounds before he hit the pylon. It would still lead to be the perfect setup for the Huskies. TJ's brother Gage would run the ball up the middle and get this massive touchdown for Atlanta, and they would also pick up the 2-point conversion. Score is 8-0. Posen would get their chance near the end of the fourth quarter to pull the game back. It's pitched to the outside to Ethan Sowick, who runs it into the end zone. Touchdown Vikings, and with 1:30 left, they needed this 2-point conversion to tie the game. Posen would look to run to the outside again, but no avail for the points. Atlanta makes this crucial stop to win the game 8-6. After the game, here's head coach Troy Cheedy with his thoughts on the first win of the season.
We felt good. We just knew that we had to get the ball to the players who make plays, and had a couple of good runs by Gage Sheedy and Trace Jurgens, and ended up getting close enough to where we could get one in the end zone, and it pretty much ended up being the difference of the game.
Atlanta will return home next week on to take Hillman on, and Posen continues for their first win of the season as they host Whittemore Prescott.
Yeah, Austin, a great game right there and a good win for the Huskies. Now, For our other area teams that were in action this week, starting with 11-man football. Joburg was in action in Elk Rapids this week. They dropped this game 48-28. But a good offensive showing from the Cardinals, and the Tawas Braves were at Sault Ste. Marie, and they lost by a score of 42-0. Moving on to 8-man now. The Hale Eagles took on a tough Pellston team on the road. They would lose this matchup 36-12. And the Arnaway Cardinals had a home game this week, and they blew out Bel Air 73-0 to improve off of their Week 1 loss to Inland Lakes.